Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Oh my god, it's been ages, isn't it? So today I want to sit down and talk to you guys about my birth story and why it was so traumatic and distressing. And I do need to address why I haven't been on YouTube as well. I haven't actually made a video for near enough a year now, which is so unlike me. I was really gaining a massive momentum a year ago on my channel, and I was posting at least once a week and I was really enjoying it. And it got to a point in my pregnancy where I just felt so rubbish, and I had so much going on as well, like in my personal life, and it was just YouTube just kind of had to take a back seat for a little while I just carried on and got through my pregnancy and everything else like that. So I kind of want to sit down and say I'm really sorry for that, because I know a lot of you guys sort of like asked me where I'd went and why I wasn't posting YouTube videos anymore. It was never my intention to kind of dramatically drop off YouTube like I did. But anyway, I wanted to tell you guys that I'm back and I will be making more videos. I'm gonna try and get into vlogging as well. I know that I've spoken about this on my channel before, but I think because my life has changed so much, vlogging for me would probably fit my life a little bit better than this type of setup. That's not to say I'm not going to continue doing this type of videos, because you know guys know I love makeup and I always will be trying out new beauty products and like doing makeup videos and stuff like that. And I have got a studio in my new house, which is where I am at the moment. So this setup will kind of like remain the same, but I do want to sort of switch it up a little bit if I do sort of day-to-day vlogs. So before we get onto this video and talk a little bit more about my birthing experience and labour experience and that type of thing, I do have a lovely little boy now. He's now coming up 9 months. I cannot believe he has grown that much. It is unbelievable. Like, I just remember him being in my arms when he was first born, and it seemed like 5 minutes ago, and he's crawling now and he's like babbling a lot, and he's just such a lovely little boy. Like, I know any mum would talk about their son or their daughter in the same way, but I love him so much. And yeah, he honestly is the best thing in my life. And yeah, just could not imagine life without him. So I will be showing you guys a little clip of him, because I do want to kind of introduce him to my videos, because again, I want to start vlogging and he will be in those videos as well. So I'll probably insert a little clip of him here so you guys can see what he looks like. Hello, what you doing? Did you have a nice walk? Where are you going? Adam Somerville. So Adam was born on the 14th of July last year at 1 o'clock in the morning, or just before 1 o'clock in the morning. And he was a very healthy 7 £9 ounce baby. He had a bit of a traumatic entrance into the world. My pregnancy wasn't going the way I wanted it to go, pretty much. The last few weeks, it just turned into a bit of a nightmare. So I kind of like rewind you guys probably about a year ago now. And when I got to about 30 weeks pregnant, as I said before, we had so much going on. I was horrifically swollen. Like, one of my main symptoms throughout pregnancy, especially when I hit that sort of 20-week pregnancy mark, I started getting really bad water retention, especially in my legs and my feet. They were so bad. I couldn't wear any shoes. And yeah, it was just at the height of summer as well. Like, it was so hot in the UK at the time. And yeah, I just remember sitting on the sofa the last few weeks of pregnancy with 2 fans either side of me, and I was just in a complete mess. I just could not move. So anyway, 30 weeks pregnant, and we moved into our new house. So everything kind of happened really quick. We were really lucky. We found a house that we liked, got the offer accepted, as you do, yada, kind of fast forward that, moved in, and we had a lot to do with the house. The house wasn't in a terrible state, but it needed decorating before we moved in. We had carpet relaid and that type of thing. The flat that we were in before was kind of like a new build, so we didn't really have much of a chance to make it our own. But now we've kind of gone in and we painted all the walls white for the meantime, and we're just kind of like working room to room, just like doing things. So we've pretty much got the house to where we want it, although we are having a huge kind of renovation going on in the middle of May, which I will be vlogging, like before and after videos. And we're going to have the kitchen done, we're going to have the whole flooring done on downstairs, and we'll have walls knocked out and that type of thing. So yeah, that's another video, another story, but I just wanted to kind of update you guys on where I was before I had the baby, basically. So when I got to about 36 weeks, there was one particular day that I just felt so bad, and I knew that my blood pressure was high. I just didn't feel like myself, and I went around my nan's, and my nan actually had like a blood pressure machine type thing, whatever you call it. They took my blood pressure and it was, I can't remember what it was, but it was quite high. So I phoned up the hospital and they told me to come in straight away, which I did. I ended up staying in hospital for 3 nights that particular episode, and they kind of found out that I had high ALT readings in my liver. I don't actually know what that means, but I ended up developing preeclampsia, which for me wasn't a massive shock, just because I had pretty much all the symptoms, like the headaches, the dizziness, and especially the swollen body. Pretty much by then I was so blown up, it was unbelievable. They didn't want to induce me that soon because my liver readings wasn't at a dangerously high level, but I did have to go back to the hospital every 2 days to have the monitor put on the baby, just to check my blood, my urine samples and that type of thing, blood pressure obviously. So that was a huge strain, like the last few weeks of being pregnant, because every 2 days I was backwards and forwards at the hospital, being strapped up on the monitor, and I was there for pretty much 2-3 hours while they were doing it. So they said to me at the time that I would need to see a consultant to assess whether or not that I needed to be induced before 40 weeks. So I went to see him, and he actually admitted me into hospital at 39 weeks. He wouldn't let me go past 40 weeks pregnant, basically. All of my checks that I was having up until that point were kind of like at an even level almost, I suppose. It wasn't getting any worse, but it wasn't getting any better. So that's why they felt like they could leave me right up until 40 weeks. So I was about 39 weeks and 2 days to be precise. I went into hospital to be induced, and that was a Monday, and ended up having a baby on the Friday. So there was a lot that went on in those 4 or 5 days. I had every kind of induction method that you could think of. I had pessaries, stretch and sweeps, that type of thing, but nothing was working. I think they started me the first round of the pessaries on the Monday and nothing happened. I wasn't dilating, I wasn't showing any symptoms of starting labour. So they ended up doing another pessary. Again, that still didn't work. They done loads of sweeps and that type of thing. Again, nothing was getting anything moving. I wasn't dilating at all. My body just wasn't preparing for labour. I didn't have any signs of it. The baby wasn't ready to come out. But again, I knew that I had to get him out because of the preeclampsia situation. So anyway, it got to about Wednesday, and by then I was absolutely knackered. By this point I had no sleep whatsoever. Like, you do not sleep in the hospital when you're being induced. There's just so much going on around you in the middle of the night. Obviously people having babies there, and that added to like so much anxiety and stress at the time, because obviously you don't know what the pain level is going to be like, you don't know how you're going to give birth and what it's going to be like and feel like, and then you see and hear all these women and all the commotion going on when they're giving birth. And for me, it frightened the life out of me, because I suppose I didn't really know what to expect, and it was like the fear of the unknown. But my husband was really good. Like, he stayed with me for the 4 days too, and by the Thursday I had literally had enough. I had no sleep, I was poked and prodded. I just really wanted the baby to be out. They, sounds really graphic and gross, and I'm sorry for that, but they stretched me to 2 centimetres. I had to go on the labour ward for the doctor to break my waters, because the midwives couldn't do it because I wasn't dilated enough. I think on Thursday around midday they took me to the labour ward. Fortunately it was really quiet. There was no one in there at all. I think we were the only people in there at the time. And the doctor came in, he broke my waters. I had gas and air as well, so I couldn't really feel much of what was going on. And then you wait 2 hours for your body to naturally go into labour. So I was kind of walking around. I did have a lot of pain at the time, but it wasn't severe pain. Again, you don't really know if it's contractions that you're feeling or if it's just a pain because they just broke your waters and that type of thing. But yeah, I didn't really have a huge amount of pain, but I was suffering a little bit anyway. So I was kind of like walking up and down the wards and bouncing on a ball and doing things that, I don't know, trying to be mobile basically, not trying to sit down. And then 2 hours passed, doctor come back in, and by then I was thinking, oh, I might have got to 4 centimetres. And he was like, no, you're still 2. And I was like, oh, shit. So in the end, we had to start the oxytocin drip, which gets your body into kind of like false labour, if that makes sense. And within about 4 hours, I started going into labour. I was having regular contractions. Again, I couldn't really feel much because I had the epidural, so I did have that pain relief, although I did feel a lot of tightening around my stomach. And there was one particular time where the baby was kind of like laying on the side with his feet up, and he was really pushing in my ribs, and it was so painful. Like, that was probably like the most painful part of the whole process, and I really wanted to try and get him to move, but obviously I couldn't. I suppose that he was trying to make his way out. And then what started happening after that is that every time they upped the dose of the oxytocin drip, his heart rate would drop, and it dropped dramatically. Like, I think it was like 140 beats per minute, and then at one point it dropped to 50, then 60, and then it's sort of creeping up again, and then he was okay. And then we could obviously sense that every time that they were upping the dosage of the strip, it was just kind of causing him a little bit of stress. They were saying that the cord maybe had been wrapped around his neck, or he could have been playing with the cord. At that point, we decided to continue, kind of like seeing what happened, but that was really, really distressing. Anyway, it got further on. I think by this point, bearing in mind they broke my waters at 12 o'clock midday, by 8 o'clock that evening, they upped the dosage of the oxytocin again. And at this point, the baby's heartbeat stopped. Like, they couldn't find the heartbeat. All I remember by then is like the midwife banging on the buzzer next to me, and I had probably about 10 people within 2 seconds swamped around me. I had like, I don't even know who they were or what they were doing. They were trying to get another heart monitor on the baby's head, but they couldn't do that because I wasn't dilated enough. And by all this happening, I was still only 2 centimetres. I still wasn't dilating at all. So they couldn't even put the heartbeat monitor on the baby's head to get an accurate measurement of what was going on in there. And I don't know how long they couldn't find his heartbeat for, but by then I was in hysterics. My husband was in hysterics, my mum was there as well. Like, we were all in so much shock. I was crying. I think my husband said at one point that I was like, please don't let my baby die, please don't let my baby die. Like, it was awful. Like, I just actually hate talking about it and thinking about it, because the thought of like anything bad happening to him would have just, oh, I don't know what I would have done. But eventually they found the baby's heartbeat. It was still quite low at the time, but it did kind of like regain and went back up to where it should have been, which is about 140, 130 beats a minute. By then I told them to stop. I didn't want to continue with the drip. I just wanted to have a C-section, and I never ever thought that I would have said that. But at that point I had been through so much, and so much stress and like anxiety about whether or not my baby was going to be okay, that I just wanted him here safely. That was all that was on the forefront of my mind. And I remember they stopped the drip. The doctor came in and they speak about the pros and cons of like having a C-section and whether you want to have it and the recovery and that type of thing. But I was so adamant. Even though this had just happened, they still wanted me to continue with the drip for another 4 hours to see if I was dilating. Bearing in mind, I wasn't dilating at all. I was still only 2 centimetres. So I wasn't very hopeful that I would have had a natural birth anyway. With all this being said, I was pushing to have a C-section, and in the end, they let me sign the paperwork and get everything done. And luckily, as I said before, there was hardly anyone in the labour ward. I think there was one girl in front of me that had an emergency C-section. So she went in before me, and then I went in, and he was born. And he was born at about 5 to 1. The C-section, I don't really remember much of it because, again, I was so out of it. I was absolutely knackered by then. All I was waiting for was just to hear him cry, because I knew that he would have been okay. Yeah, so as soon as they got me into the theatre, they had him out within the next sort of 5-10 minutes. It was all really, really quick. And then once he was out, obviously I heard him cry, and I started crying because I was just so relieved that he was okay. And then they brought him round to me before they cleaned him up, just so I could see him, but I couldn't hold him at that point because the cord needed to be cut and everything like that. So my husband went off with them to clean him up, cut the cord, and then they brought him back to me. And it was just such a nice feeling having him in my arms, especially after such a traumatic birth. I was so thankful that everything was okay. And yeah, he was really, really healthy, £7.9 as I said before, so a really, really good weight. And yeah, it's just absolutely amazing. So I kind of like wanted to tell you guys about my birth experience. Maybe it might help you guys out there, but I don't know, might have been in a similar situation or something like that. It hasn't put me off of being pregnant again. I mean, I would love more kids in the future, but I think next time I'll definitely get an elective C-section, just because I don't think I could go through all that again. So that was my birth experience. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know that I haven't been on YouTube for a really, really long time, but that is all gonna change now. I really would like you guys to kind of tell me what videos you want to see. I know that the main focus on my channel is makeup, but now that I'm a mum and I have a house and big responsibilities, I kind of feel like my life has gone in a completely different path. Like, I still love makeup, I still enjoy putting it on and doing my job and that type of thing. But yeah, I just really got this burning desire in me to kind of start blogging and doing more sort of mum videos and things like that. So I'd really like your kind of like interaction on that, if you guys could let me know if that's the type of thing that you want to see. So I really, really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, give it a thumbs up for me, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!